G'day there everyone, Troy Parsons here, co-founder of the Podiatry Hive and director at the Podiatrist up here in Toowoomba. Now, this month's video blog, I thought I would feature a new policy that we've implemented in our practice up here at the Podiatrist, and it was around complaints. And this month's theme was about asking for more referrals, and one of the best ways to get referrals is by getting outstanding outcomes with your patients and also forming lasting relationships and trust with these people. And we decided to put that sort of spin on looking at our policy around dealing with and capturing complaints. We had a situation just recently where one of our patients who's been a long-term a client of ours, she made a complaint and it went to administration. It was regarding a pod and also how one of the administration handled the situation, and it basically meandered its way through the clinic until it got to me, and I had the opportunity to call this patient and find out what was the situation and then go about rectifying that situation. And what I realised at that moment is just it's such a unique opportunity when someone takes the time to provide you with this complaint or developmental feedback. There's such an opportunity for you to actually enhance that relationship with that patient, but also to identify the cracks in your business or in your business policies. And as such, we put a policy around this so we could make sure this sort of thing is captured and we can learn from it going forward. And also we could adjust the policies that led to the complaint to start with. So this is something that I've tried to encourage in our practice, is that we learn a lot more from our failures than we do our successes. So as such, we need to embrace complaints. It's such a unique opportunity when people actually take the time to let you know that they're unhappy. I'd much rather that than people be unhappy and then go elsewhere, or even worse, bad mouth us elsewhere without giving us the opportunity to make a comeback with that. So that's the premise behind this policy. And as with any policy, this is how we structure things. We just have the name, who it was approved by, when it was last reviewed, and we try and review all our policies annually to see that they're still relevant and do they need to be enhanced. So the purpose, as I mentioned before, is that everyone has a clear pathway of what to do when a complaint presents, and that's across all our clinics, across all our practitioners. The complaint is something that we want to embrace here, so we don't want things swept under the carpet. So I've tried to develop a culture here where we promote above the line behaviour. We're responsible for how we behave, and as such, we don't blame, we don't shame, we don't justify on the whole. And when you have a culture like that, people can have the confidence that they can pass on complaints and that they won't be blamed or vilified for it. And we'll just look at what we can do to rectify the situation and make sure it doesn't happen again. So we've put in here that no complaint is too small. We want to capture everything. The procedure. Now, this is an objection, a dislike into anything that seems unfair, unacceptable, or otherwise not up to normal standards. The complaint could be from a staff member, from a patient, from one of our networkers or referrers, or even a separate party. And also, it can be a phone call, be face-to-face, or might even be via email. Where possible, we want to try and rectify this situation immediately. And what we've attached is a link that has some insight into how we like to try and deal with difficult situations. And that link isn't working on this screen that I'm on. It's a hyperlink that we've set up so people can just click on it. But that file is this here. So dealing with conflict or difficult situations, and these are things that we've role played in the clinic. And it starts with all patients need to feel as though they're right, even though they may not be. So we encourage people to empathize and put yourself in their shoes, and as always, seek first to understand before being understood. And people sometimes just like to be heard. And if you're actually showing a genuine interest in wanting to resolve the situation, they quickly calm down. Behaviour breeds behaviour. So another way of framing it, and it's in the 10 rules that I like to talk about. Communication is the response I get. If I get the wrong response, then we need to change the communication. So if someone's coming at you they're very rude, very aggressive, there's an easy tendency to reply with the same, and that just magnifies the situation. If someone's being quite rude and quite upset, basically just stay nice and calm and realize it's more about the situation and what's happened, not about you personally. The follow on from that is, basically controlling your emotions, because once we start to get emotive in these situations, we start to make poor decisions, and we often say things we probably don't mean. And I'm sure we can all personally reflect on a situation where we've made an ill-timed comment or decision when we haven't had control of our emotions. So it's particularly important in this situation. And to diffuse the situation, it always just starts with listening, seeking first to understand what's actually made them angry, what's made them upset, and then empathize. And using language that's positive, in that I can see that you're upset. I understand how you're feeling. I don't blame you for feeling this way. And as I said before, the patient's not angry at you. The patient's angry at the situation. So we correct the issue wherever possible, and if further action needs to be taken, we then work our way through this flow chart. And that's what the next point here. If the complaint is unable to be resolved and management is required, we then work our way through this flow chart. Now, the flow chart is attached, and I will come to that. We list Appendix 1, which has the flow chart, and I want this to be completed for all complaints, even if it is rectified at the time. So again, we can identify what happened, and can we do something proactively in the future to make sure this doesn't happen again? Will it be a change in policy procedure, or maybe it's regarding to some scripting, or just a follow-up with the individual team member to make sure that a certain level is maintained. But we want to capture all of these and use them as a reference going forward. And we encourage that from a positive perspective. It's developmental feedback. It's not direct criticism, and it's certainly not about blaming or shaming anyone. As you go through the flow chart, it makes sure that all the steps and all the people involved have been notified, and then that has been followed up to make sure the patient has a clear resolution to the situation, and we then follow that up with a letter. So it's probably going to be best to show the appendices below, and we'll get a clear understanding of how we do this. Once it's completed, we scan it and attach it to the file. We also keep it in a common documents file under complaints, which we can then use as a training tool going forward. And as always, I sign off on the policy and procedure, as does Petrina, our practice manager. So this is our flow chart. So in the first, we basically enter in what was the complaint, who was it, how did we receive it, when did it happen, what was it about, who was involved. So we capture all the necessary details so we know exactly who, what, where, and why. Next box is what attempt was made to resolve a complaint, and was this successful, was it not? So we put in what was the first steps here. Next step is to contact the practice manager, and basically that's just an accountability, just to remind people that they need to contact the practice manager about all of these incidents. Has the practice manager been involved? So is it regarding a pod? They've then got to go to the pod. I may be involved as well, and then the practice manager will also contact the person making the complaint. At this stage, we look for the resolution, and we put in what was the positive outcome. Has the complaint been resolved and all parties happy with the outcome? Yes, no. If it's no, we've obviously got to keep working on the situation. Has a follow-up phone call been made after the resolution? We always follow up with a phone call. And then we actually have just brought in that we want to follow up with a letter, and I'll list that below. So again, this is we sign off on this flow chart, and then that goes into the attached to the patient file, and also goes into the complaints file, as I mentioned earlier. Now, the letter we send out, this is something that we've only just put in, and we're just trialing. So it's just hi to whoever it is. The podiatrist would like to personally thank you for your feedback in relation to your experience at our clinic. Feedback forms an essential part of our ongoing development. With ideas, suggestions, and feedback, we continue to improve our services we offer. We also can improve the way they're delivered. As a token of sincere appreciation, please find an enclosed movie ticket. Taking the time to enjoy a movie with a loved one or friends is a joy, and we'd love you to enjoy a movie on us. The experience we offer the podiatrist is the utmost importance to the team, and we trust that your visits to our clinic benefit your overall foot and leg health and well-being, and we look forward to looking after your podiatry needs in the future. Once again, thank you for your feedback to the podiatrist. We look forward to looking after yours and your family and friends' foot health now and into the future. So we just thought this is a really nice way to actually acknowledge that we do value their feedback, that we're just not dismissing it. And I'm very confident this will result in a very positive outcome and a lasting relationship when these situations present. So, as I said, we learn more from our failures than our success. And if people actually take the time to give us negative feedback, a complaint, or developmental feedback, as I like to phrase it, we need to embrace that opportunity and do our utmost to use that to our advantage to continually improve our clinics and continually improve our policy procedures and continually improve our relationships both with our team, with our patients, and with all the outside parties. So there you have it. That's my initiative that we've put in to look at getting referrals through another manner, and that's basically tackling complaints head on and achieving that positive outcome. Hope you enjoy it. We'll upload these docs up to the document library as always, and if you have any questions, please post them in the forum. If you put it in place, we'd love to hear your feedback as well. All the best.